Yeah,
I see
hi.
me. Hi.
Hey,
How you
Al.
doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, good.
Good. The film, I really enjoyed the film.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so much.
so I guess as you do parody songs, the film sort of parodies your life. There are a bit of truth, a bit of autobiography. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
there are a few nuggets of truth sprinkled throughout.
yeah. Um, so yeah, it starts out pretty normal, but then you realize that something is seriously wrong when Dad tangles with the accordion salesman.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There was in fact a door-to-door accordion salesman that came through my neighborhood. That part is true. But my dad didn't beat the living snot out of him. They actually thought it was a good idea to give me accordion lessons.
you think your parents would have laughed at how you portrayed?
Yeah, I think so. They would have gotten a kick out of it.
Really? So as a child, you thought of this yourself to make up words to songs that already had lyrics.
Yeah, I think and I wasn't unique in that way. I think every 8-year-old kid in the universe at some point starts changing the words around to songs they hear on the radio. So, I was one of those kids, and that was just a phase that I apparently never grew out of.
Hmm. Did you sing about the grapes? Amazing grapes at the
I don't think I ever specifically sang that song, but it would have been something similarly ridiculous and stupid.
How did you know that Daniel Radcliffe was the one to play you?
Eric Appel and I gave it a lot of long, hard thought, and we were trying to figure out who should play me in the movie. And we came up with a list of like a half a dozen or so actors that we thought would be suitable for the part. But the name that we kept coming back to was Daniel Radcliffe because we just thought he had the right energy for it. Not to sound all California, but he felt like he would really get it because he we knew that he was a big fan of alternative comedy, and he had great comedic chops, but he also had amazing dramatic chops as well. And both were important because we needed it's a broad comedy obviously, but at the same time it's not played as such. It's played like it's a very serious dramatic Oscar bait biopic. So we wanted somebody really be able to hit those dramatic beats, but at the same time know they're in a comedy.
Were you very hands-on as a producer and a writer? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I was on the set every single second that the cameras rolled, and I think that was important for me because there were some moments where we needed on the spot rewrite, or we needed, I needed to be around in case something wasn't exactly the way it was supposed to be, and it's better to do that on the set as opposed to 5 months later in the editing room. So I made sure that I was always available, and I try not to get in the way. Everybody's very busy doing what they're doing, and I didn't want to be be dragging things down or slowing things up because we were on a very tight schedule. But if I had a note, I was on the spot to offer it, and if there was any kind of problem, I was there on the spot to help fix it.
Speaking of on the spot and a tight schedule, Daniel doesn't actually sing, but then he had to learn the words. I take it in not too long of a time there. Sure.
Yeah, Daniel had a lot to do. I mean, he certainly can sing. He's an excellent singer, but we just thought that it was funnier for him to lip sync because that's one of the tropes of these kind of musical biopics is to have an actor lip syncing to somebody else's singing. But yeah, Daniel had. Besides that, I mean, he had to learn dance choreography and fight choreography, and it was a lot of, and he learned how to play the accordion. He actually learned the right buttons to push. So he had a huge workload, and it was an 18-day shoot, which is for all the things we had to get through. That was an insanely short period of time. But Daniel knocked it out of the park. We had to do everything in like one, two, maybe three takes at the most for everything. We're moving very, very quickly, and we wouldn't have been able to pull it off unless we had an amazing crew and an amazing cast uh, with people like Daniel and Evan and Rain.
Yeah. And I understand you made new versions of the songs for the films. That,
Yeah, yeah. Because we needed to be able to have uh, uh, be able to tweak the stems. So like if Daniel's mouth moves away from the microphone, we had to be able to dip that in the mix, um, and make it sound like it was a live performance. I think it wouldn't have sounded right to use like the original master recording. So I thought it would be best to go in and re-record all the songs that Daniel was performing in the movie, so it sounded more realistic.
now, did Dr. Demento actually give you your first serious break?
He did. That part is true. Dr. Demento changed my life in a very real way. I mean, obviously, everything in the movie is exaggerated or slightly askew, but Dr. Demento is the person that first gave me airplay when I'm sure nobody else in the universe would have done that. And he encouraged me along the way. He didn't really act as my manager, as is implied in this movie, but he very much uh, got me thinking that hey, maybe I can make a living doing comedy music, which is not what I was trained for. I got my degree in architecture, and I thought that at some point I'd have be an adult and have a real job. But because of my exposure and because I was encouraged through Dr. Demento, that got me thinking, oh, maybe I should go in this other direction, and do something that I actually am more passionate about.
Good choice.
Thank
Um,
you.
um, but he didn't name you Weird Al, did he?
No, no, that came about in college actually. I think somebody in the dorms in my freshman year started calling me Weird Al because I was just sort of this like weird kid that used to roam around the hallways, and it wasn't a fond term, I don't think, uh, but I took it on when I started doing college radio. I did the Weird Al show every Saturday night on the local campus radio station, and that's where I first took on the name, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. How did it come about that Florence Henderson ended up in the as the Amish woman in the video?
In the Amish Paradise video.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, I don't. I just. I don't know. I was just thinking who would be the best person to be Michelle Pfeiffer's doppelganger in my video, and for some reason I thought that Florence Henderson would be the perfect one. And I didn't really know her at the time, but I just thought, oh, how amazing would it be to like have Mrs. Brady be like this Amish woman, and she came to the set and she had such a great attitude about it, and she absolutely nailed it, and we became good friends after that video shoot. But yeah, I just thought it would be very funny and very cool to have Florence in that part.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of the video. Other than the song, of course. And now parody is generally covered under copyright laws. Is that correct? As long
Well,
as the royalties are paid?
I'll say it's a gray area. It's I always go above and beyond what's legal because I try to honor the wishes of the original songwriter. So even if I don't need to, from a legal standpoint, I always get permission from the original songwriters and get their blessing just to make sure that they're okay with it.
Yeah, but some has told you no. And did you go
I'm sorry.
for it? Some told you no, they didn't want you to use their song
Oh, um, in my career or in the movie?
in the career. In your career.
Yeah. Prince never was open to the idea of a parody song. So, and I had several ideas for him, but he just never was really into that. So he's the one that got away, I guess, because it would have been really fun to do a Prince parody, but he just never uh, was open to that.
Yeah. In the movie, you talk about, of course, another one rides the bus. Did you have any problems with Queen with another one bite?
No, I mean, when I first did that song, it was on the Dr. Demento show in 1980, and and I didn't bother like getting Queen's permission because I was like this, a 20-year-old college kid, just doing this as a goof. I just did it for the Dr. Demento show. I didn't think like, oh, here's my new hit single. I'm going to have a 40-year long record career. It was just like me having fun on the radio. and Dr. Meadows started playing it, and I think Queen found out about it, and to their credit, they didn't like give Dr. Meadows a cease and desist letter, or they weren't angry about it. They just said, "Hey, you should have asked our permission for this, but it's okay."
Yeah.
and and that's when I learned, oh, you're supposed to ask permission. All right, I got it.
I'm sure a lot of musicians find that as a compliment, you
These
know.
days they do. When I first started out, maybe more people were not quite sure about it, but now that I've got a bit of a track record, yeah, a lot of artists actually look at it as a badge of honor or a rite of passage. It's like, you've achieved a certain plateau in your career where you're now popular and famous enough to get a Weird Al parody.
I'm sure Dave Grohl thought that. Of course, they've been the Foo Fighters have been famous for a while.
Yeah.
I think he did Nirvana when he was in the group Nirvana.
Nirvana, yeah. Oh, it did a smells like Nirvana, and yeah, they were extremely cool about it. I called up Kurt Cobain on the set of Saturday Night Live when they were performing there and asked if it was okay, and he thought it was a great idea. I know Dave, he's super cool, and Chris. So yeah, they all got a big kick out of it, and that was a real thrill for me.
Did you ever have a mentor in the music industry that sort of maybe steered you into the right direction, maybe as to what you were doing, or not to offend people?
Well,
Or
well, I mean, I mean, in the movie, Dr. Demento says he's my D mentor,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so he'd be one of them. I've had the same manager since the early '80s, Jay Levy. So he's somebody that's guided my career throughout the decades. And then I just have a support group of a lot of people that have been with me for as long. My band I've had since the early '80s as well, and it's nice. I tend to surround myself with supportive people that know what they're doing, and it's served me well.
yeah. Um, I noticed in the movie, I thought it was cool with I can't remember now who played Pee Wee Herman, but they did a very good job.
Oh, Yarma Taccone from the Lonely Island, and Akiva from the Lonely Island plays Alice Cooper. I originally wanted to get all three Lonely Island guys, but Andy had some family issue, so he wasn't able to make it, even though he really wanted to.
Yeah. So those were the kind of guys that you sort of were around or friends with in the early part of your career.
Who, PB Herman and or Lonely Island?
Yeah, all of those at the party.
Yeah, I knew pretty much. Yeah, I guess I knew pretty much everybody, or at least met pretty much everybody that we caricature at the party. I don't think I actually met Andy Warhol. Well, I never met Salvador Dali. I tell you that for sure. And I don't think I ever officially met Andy Warhol, although we were at some of the same functions together. But pretty much everyone else, I think, is somebody that I've had at least a few interactions with over the years.
And not an extremely close relationship with Madonna.
No, I only actually met her in person once for about a minute, but she was in some way indirectly responsible for me doing Like a Surgeon, because she wondered aloud to a friend of hers in New York one day back in 1985, "Hey, I wonder when Weird Al's going to do Like a Surgeon." And her friend that she was talking to knew my manager, so the word got back to me, and I thought, well, it's not a bad idea. Maybe I will.
Mhm.
So we took that one little nugget of truth and extrapolated it into this whole crazy uh, arc in the movie.
It was quite crazy. But I think I think
Yeah.
my favorite scene to me was the funniest was the polka party.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was funny.
And the young guys doing the polka there,
Yeah, yeah.
I sort of missed that in my teenage years, I think. But, but I'm not sure that a lot of people know you also write original songs. And
Yeah, well, that is true. Like, I put out 14 studio albums, and half of the material on those albums is original. Hopefully still funny, but not based specifically on another song. And to this day, I still get people saying, "Hey, do you ever write your own songs?" And I have to explain, "Well, yes, I've been doing that for 40 years as well, but it's just that the parodies get most of the attention." In fact, right now, I'm on a tour, a 133 date tour across North America, and we're going to wind up at Carnegie Hall next week, where we're playing nothing but our original music. So it's been something that I've always done as well, which maybe if you're not a hardcore fan, you may not even realize that.
Yeah, yeah. And you have different inspirations for those songs as well. Huh?
Sure, I mean, some of those songs are pastiches, meaning they sound like another artist, or they're sometimes I call them a style parody, but it's still an original composition. It's just a song in the style of somebody else, even though both the music and the lyrics are original.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Sure. Oh yeah, I used to read that in the comics every week when I was a kid. In fact, I was very proud because I don't think it's there anymore, but Linwood, California, where I grew up, they had a Ripley's record because it had the narrowest store in the world. It was a store that was 5 feet wide, and they sold vacuum cleaners, which I guess they had on the wall. But yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Are you active on social media? I noticed you have 5 million followers on Twitter. Do you interact
Yeah.
or?
So yeah, I'm on social media more than a healthy person probably should be. It's kind of addictive, but yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and I've got a Facebook account, and I manage my own website with WeirdAl.com. So yeah, it keeps me busy.
Yeah, well, you told me about the tour. So what else is going on? You have
Well, that's the main things. I mean, we're on tour for another couple of weeks. We got the movie coming out and a lot of publicity around that. Hopefully have a little break around the holidays, and then next year, I think we might be taking the tour overseas for a little bit. That's still being figured out. But that's sort of like the broad strokes right now. I'm not quite sure beyond the tour what's happening. Uh, I wouldn't mind having some time off, but often things tend to drop in my lap, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
is your daughter interested in music or in the entertainment industry?
Well, she's taking harp lessons. she's she's a sophomore in college right now. I don't think she really is thinking about any kind of career in show business. She's majoring in art and environmental design, and I don't know exactly what she's going to wind up doing, but I'm sure in some way she's going to save the world for us.
Oh, well, hey, thank her for me. Uh,
Okay.
um, so you're one of only 5 music acts to have a top 40 hit in each of the last 4 decades, and that's really something. Um, how do you think? What's the key to you? How do you explain your your continued popularity?
I don't know. I mean, my career never should have happened. Nobody thought that I would have a 40-year long recording career, and I certainly didn't think so either. I was just doing it for fun. But I don't know. A luck factors in a great way, and I guess there's a modicum of talent there, and I also, like I said before, I surround myself with very talented and supportive people. I mean, I'm on stage with the same band that I've had since the early '80s, and that's really helpful. I mean, just to have that support group and that community and that family with you. So it's all of the above, and I've got very supportive fans as well. The people that got into me in the '80s, many of them now are still coming to the shows, and they're bringing their kids, or in some cases their grandkids, which is a little scary to think about. But it's great to have people that care about what you do and will support you.
Yeah, well, I've been a great fan for many years, so it's a great pleasure for me to speak with you
Well,
today.
that's so nice. Thank you so much.